Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to GBear's Off-Grid Ways, a homestead in the desert. This is January 10th, 2020. And yeah, I'm sorry I haven't posted in a few days, but what's been going on is I've been having some difficulties using my smartphone and uploading videos. And for the most part, any video between 7 minutes and say 15 minutes has been taking me on an average of 3 hours to upload. And I wasn't real happy. So I've been dealing with the cell phone provider. I'm sorry, I'm watching an idiot drive down my road again, right past the sign that says private road, turn around here. Yep. So anyway, I've been dealing with the cell phone company, and I've had them online. This has been going on for like a month and a half, and even my Wi-Fi in here has been so slow that I get no difference between the Wi-Fi and my cell phone, and they're telling me, oh, it's probably just a SIM card, things like that. And I said, well, how can both SIM cards be out? Because it's two different units. And, you know, nobody could answer my question. So I actually went to a Verizon store that had texts in there. And I sat down and explained to the individual that I'm not very happy. I've used up all my data. I have no data. They've toggled me down to even a slower speed. And I put speed test on my phone, and I ran speed test on it, and I was only getting like 4.2 megabytes per second for download, and 0.01 to 0.04 megabits per second for upload. Now that's slower than old dial-up internet. That's just ridiculous. That's really not acceptable. So I went in there and I told them I was a little bit upset, and I wasn't really happy with the service. Now Pierre's here. He's using an AT&T phone, and they're working on the tower down there. And he tells me that he's all passes data, so he's been toggled down and all of that stuff, and he still uploads videos longer than mine in the matter of 10, 12, 15 minutes. They're uploaded to the YouTube and ready to go. So there's something really going on here. Finally, to make a long story short, this one kid in the Verizon store looked on his tablet, and he says, well, I don't see any towers that are down or anything, but they are upgrading everything to 5G from the old 4G, which is faster speeds. And they may have to shut towers down in order to do that. So it's a possibility that that tower down there that they're working on, they've got one of those cherry pickers been up there for 2 weeks straight now. They may be upgrading that to 5G, and that's why I'm not getting any service from that, because the place I'm connecting to for service is I'd say probably 110 miles away from here. So yeah, I can understand why that would be slowing things down a little bit, but not happy at all. So anyway, they put a new SIM card in, refreshed it, and then gave me a whole new service plan, and it doubled my data. They went from 20 gigabytes per month on my smartphone to 40 gigabytes per month, and it dropped my monthly fees by $10. So I did get something out of it so far, but we'll see. I'm going to upload this one tonight and see how that goes. And the reason that I've been ranting a little bit right here is because I wanted this video to be an average length, and I'm only at 5 minutes now. And I want to be able to upload my standard length of video. So to follow up, I did promise a couple of people I would follow up on the last video about wind turbines and wind and solar and stuff like that. Well, I had a question today about whether or not you could hook a solar panel directly to one of these heating elements. And I did answer that, but for the rest of you who might want to know about that, you can, but it's kind of like not going to do you any good, because this is a 300 watt heating element. So it takes 300 watts to get heat coming out of this thing. And what it's designed for is to suck the power down very quickly and lower it to the acceptable rate when it goes over the 14.4 mark, which is the overcharge on the batteries. But see, this is what I've got today. And this is what I've been seeing the last few days without those imitation clouds in the sky. So I got plenty of power here. And sometimes you'll see the arrow will just stop and it'll go blank like this one. And that's telling me that I'm on float charge. I've got fully charged battery, so there's no more needed. So yeah, I'm up there. All my controllers are all within 1 point of each other. This one is a Harbor Freight, and it's at, oh, it just jumped to 15. 14.2, 14.3, 14.1. They're all within the same area. So yeah, I've got plenty of electricity, and I'm going to use some of it up here in a little while. But let's get back to the heating elements. Apparently they're thinking about using it to heat, using a solar panel direct connect to one of these to heat maybe their room or their cabin or their small house or their camper or whatever. Okay, not a good idea. First of all, if you're going to hook solar directly to this is a 12 volt unit. It's rated for 12 volts. And you want to keep all your voltages for everything on the same level. But if you're going to run this directly off a solar panel, you'd have to run a minimum of 300 watts of solar in perfect angle and full sunlight for this thing to work. And as much as the panels are trying to put out the electricity, this thing would be using it up. So yeah, you could do that, but it's not efficient. So if you doubled your panels and you went to 600 watts of panels and tied them through this, then you would be overrating this unit, and you have no controller in between the two. So you'd be putting out 600 watts into a 300 watt heating element, which would cause it to get extra hot and probably burn out or start a fire. So it's just not a good idea. This is designed to go on a dump load system so that when your batteries are peaked out, you have more electricity you need, and then your wind turbine starts putting more electricity into the batteries. Well, this thing clicks like this. You'll hear it. Okay, you hear the click. There's yellow light. The fan turned on because it's got power coming out. And now it's running over to the heating element. And you see the batteries are dropping down. At 13.9, 13.8, flashing between those two. And if I put my hand over here, I don't have my thermometer with me right now, but yeah, that's starting to get warm. And that feels good on my hand because it's a little chilly out today. But that's using up the excess electricity in the batteries. But it's not really ready to kick on yet because it's got to get to 14.4 before it does that. So I'm going to shut that back off again, and you see my batteries pop right back up again. So my solar panels are really doing their job. And one of the problems I found that may have been causing all of this was when I was setting this up to put the heat sink on my rectifier, this negative was loose. And you got to check your connections on a regular basis. And I failed to check that one. But yeah, heat will cause them to expand and contract, and then vibrations will cause things to loosen up. So you definitely want to always check your connections, check your battery connections, make sure that the bolts are all tightened once in a while. And it's just good practice to do that stuff. And what I usually do is I just grab a hold of the wire and give it a little wiggle. If it moves at all, I get out my wrenches, and I keep wrenches up here on a shelf ready to go. All right. So that was the question that I had about this. And again, no, you don't want to just run them straight off of solar panels. Not a good idea. They do make heaters, 12-volt heaters, that you can run off of. You would run it off of the utility connections on here, where a light bulb would normally connect. You can put your wires in there, and you can run a 12-volt heater off of there. But again, depending on how much watts it uses, you're going to make sure you have a plenty of power coming in, your solar panels coming in, running through a controller, and then going to your heater or your air blower heater or whatever you're going to put on there, so that it's protected and it's not going to overload the heater. All right. I hope that explains it for you, and we'll move on down the line, and I'm going to get ready to close this video off for today. And I promise I'll be back soon. I'm not going to make it a really 3-day habit, but they upped my data, so I've got 40 gigabytes per month now, so I should be able to upload videos without a problem. And they're going to call tomorrow morning to follow up to make sure I'm getting the speeds I need. And I don't know if I am or not, but I'll find out as soon as I start uploading. This is GBear reminding you, give me a thumbs up down there, please. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Remember, I'm reminding you again, it is free, and you're not going to get spammed or harassed or get all kinds of advertisements or anything like that. When you subscribe to my channel, all that does is give you a notification when I upload a new video, so that you don't fall behind on the videos and you'll keep track of what's going on. Also remember, you can leave a comment down below. Questions and comments are always welcome, and I try to get back to everybody on a very quick basis, usually within this day's time. But please do not ask me questions about security, legalities, laws, anything like that. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a legal advisor. I'm not going to give anybody information that's going to steer them wrong. Every area is different, so you'll have to check that stuff out on your own. All right, everybody, this is GBear signing off.